G'day guys, Rob Malicki here to talk today about a very nice little research paper from Ly Tran and a colleague that's just been published about the new Colombo Plan. Now obviously as mobility practitioners we are super busy just getting more students out on programs, so I know taking the time to actually sit down and read really good research papers isn't necessarily easy for everybody. So in this really short video, in under 5 minutes, I'm going to summarise for you some of the key findings of this paper. Let's get cracking. Alright, so quick explanation first. I don't know what was going on in the air conditioning this morning in our office, but somebody was grilling onions and it was smelling crazy, so I had to step out and get like bacon and egg roll and a coffee. So that's what this is all about. Okay, so first and foremost, how did the research team actually do this study? They did a ton of interviews, 52 interviews in total, with different kinds of people, so students, academics, mobility practitioners, government staff, independent people. They spoke with a whole lot of people and did what's called a discourse analysis. A discourse analysis is essentially analysis of the discourse, analysis of the words that people have spoken, looking for trends and linking that through to the things that they were interested in researching. If we go through to the introduction, essentially like the introduction talks about like the macro environment for Australia, outbound mobility, Australian outbound mobility. That's the fact that mobility has been growing so much over the last few years. The new Colombo Plan is definitely having an impact in the fact that Asia is now becoming much more a preferred destination. And also about the fact that the study was conducted mostly on students that undertook study experiences in Asia. So as we know, New Colombo Plan isn't just about Asia, it's also about the Pacific. The students they spoke to were from Asia, so that was a qualifier from the researchers. There are a couple of really great things about the paper, some really good background information if you're interested in like what some of the current research is on outbound mobility. Really good summary in here about some of the more recent outbound mobility research, particularly as it pertains to like Asia and Australia, is summarised here, as well as really good brief summaries about the Colombo Plan and the new Colombo Plan. So if you're very new to this area, really good background information there. The research is actually framed around two theoretical frameworks, and the language is actually in the paper itself. They're quite technical ways of describing what I think are actually fairly simple things. The first one is that if you're open to change, you're more likely to change. And then the second one is around an idea of capital, so social capital, cultural capital, and participatory capital. What does that mean? Cultural capital, for example, is like a cultural understanding like the cultural experience that you've developed over time. Same with social, the way that your linkages work, and participation is like your relationship with space and the things that you've done. How that all blends together to create like these levels of capital, i.e. experience, that we have and that's unique to each of us. Okay, so what does the research actually find? Well, it basically finds two major things, and I'm actually going to paraphrase kind of quote here. Firstly, the direct proximity to the host country in Asia has potentially led to perceived changes in the outlook of participants regarding Asia and their life possibilities that involve potential engagements in Asia. They're more likely to be involved and engaged with Asia going forward. Secondly, their growth of cultural and social capital is conducive to their potential as an actor of public diplomacy in relation to the Asian region, i.e. they understand the culture better, they have more social linkages, therefore they're much more likely to be able to act in a public diplomatic kind of way to support Australia's missions. It might only be morning time, but yes, we do have a nap room. I'm going to take advantage of it now. So let's talk a little bit more about research findings. Firstly, in terms of students' life possibilities and potential future engagement with Asia, students were found to have changing perceptions of their host countries. So there's an awesome quote in here about a student who'd been to Thailand before, who'd been to Bangkok before, then as a result of their new Colombo Plan experience, had a very different perspective of Thailand as a host country. And so that's a really transformative way that their new Colombo Plan experience has completely shifted their view of a particular country in our region, which is incredibly powerful. So new Colombo Plan experiences can lead to shifts in the way that we perceive and students perceive host countries inside, in this case Asia. New Colombo Plan is obviously all of Asia Pacific. The second thing is around life possibilities and a shift from Eurocentric views to more Asia-aware views. So this goes back to that thing that we've known for a long time. Students traditionally went to Europe and the US and the UK, and that was like the Eurocentric view of things. And the whole point of the new Colombo Plan is to make an international study experience a rite of passage for young Australians to actually go and study and work and understand the Asia Pacific. So it's a foreign policy initiative. And what this study actually finds is that at least across the subjects that were interviewed and across everybody that was interviewed as part of this project, there is definitely a shifting awareness away from that Eurocentric view, and certainly a number of quoted students in here about how studying in the region actually helps to shift their view and open up their ideas about the possibilities inside Asia itself, not just inside like European, American, Anglo-Saxon kind of countries. So I guess one of the key points of this part of the research findings is that the new Colombo Plan has allowed students to envisage a new normal for themselves, a future where potentially their future careers aren't just based around Australia or more Eurocentric countries, but Asia is actually part of the equation. And that's a super exciting finding, because that's one of the big goals of the new Colombo Plan, is to shift that attitude amongst young Australians. On the next part of the research findings around accumulating capital, you know, social, participatory and cultural capital, the new Colombo Plan has definitely helped to inform these different things for students, and that makes sense, right? They understand the cultures better. They create social linkages, so their social capital increases, and their understanding of the space and participation has changed as well. So all those things definitely take place. And there's an awesome little quote here, which is around social linkages, about why students want to develop them. And there are 3 examples here, which is students being really pragmatic about the networking benefits of developing those social networks. Of course, there's the personal side, making friendships. And finally, some students also see it as a way of benefiting Australia. And that's amazing, because that's exactly what the NCP wants to do as well, is for people to not only participate and benefit from themselves, but for their experience to benefit the country. So it's incredible to see that in the research, students are actually identifying with that in some cases. Okay, so discussion and conclusion, and there's a great phrasing here which I really want to share, which is about mobility as becoming. And there's a fantastic line here which says, the participants' desires for engagement and connections beyond the level of mere tourism and travel to another nation appear to be the result of education mobility. Thumbs up, that's what we're hoping to achieve, that people will actually think outside of just traveling and tourism and really engage and go deep in a country in terms of like their social connections, in terms of like their cultural understanding and their understanding of place. Amazing. Finally, it's also about mobility as connection and as connecting. And here they say, emerging from the current study, mobility as connecting is underpinned by the students' accumulation of embodied cultural and social capital. Yeah, that's right. They have more social networks inside the region, and they have more cultural understanding. Fantastic. So all of the things that New Colombo Plan is setting out to achieve is actually reflected in some way in this paper, which is absolutely awesome. So thanks to the researchers. I hope this has been of help. Have yourself a great day. See you next time.